What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Buckeye-Film-Breakdown. As always, I am Jeremy. Opposite side of the screen, we got Coach Slate. Want to hop in, talk some spring ball. Spring practice starts tomorrow. And if you are on Substack, tapped into that community, enjoy the full episode. If you're watching on YouTube, listening on iTunes, podcasts, Spotify, enjoy the free preview. Let's get into it. We've made it. We have made it through the 2-month hiatus, I guess you would say. In the opening drive, I worded it as the appetizer is here.
Yeah.
It'll give us our fix until August.
Yeah, spring practice is always fun, man. You get to see who's going to be the next Bam Childress. You get to find out who's going to be that standout guy, which freshman's going to stand out. Who's going to win that position battle? Who's going to step up and be that key depth piece? What new coach is going to stand out? What are they bringing? Who are we going to miss the most? Right? Does it get a lot of those questions answered? Kind of. And then, as a coach in Ohio State does such a great job of opening the doors for all Ohio high school coaches for us to come down and just clinic and get to learn from them. And so it's a great opportunity for us to get down to spring practice so we can see, kind of what they do. And it's just a really cool time for all high school coaches to just go see what's going on in the Woody. And so it's going to be fun, man. It's one of my favorite times of the year. So we can get down there and watch.
Yeah, obviously, you're super fortunate to have access. Media gets access, but in windows, short windows. Whereas it's a little different for you guys. And we'll jump into that in a second. But you hit on something that I'm going to kind of pivot from our game plan. To give everybody some insight into the coaching world. You guys have the Coaches Association Coaches Clinic. That was what, in February?
Yeah.
And then Ohio State does their own that kind of coincides with the spring game. Is that right?
Yes, it does.
What's the difference between the two?
The difference is that it's just really ran by Ohio State. And so you really are only hearing from Ohio State coaches and then who Coach Day wants to bring in. Right. And then they have typically like a roundtable discussion with all the Ohio State head coaches of the past, right? We had Coach Cooper, Coach Tress, Coach Day, Coach Urban. Like you get all these guys to come back, and it's pretty cool. But it's really just Ohio State, and then the other part of it too is like you get to really chalk talk with just Ohio State coaches, and it's more to me. I like the Ohio State, like Buckeye Coaches Clinic more because the coaches are much more accessible. The Coaches Association Clinic is it is thousands of coaches that are there and it's awesome, but it's not as accessible as the Ohio State one. Like you're going to be in a breakout session with Coach Johnson, and Coach Johnson is 10 feet away from you demonstrating drills. And he's right there. And you get that really one-on-one, like hands-on experience. Whereas, at the coaches clinic, it's not really like the Coaches Association Clinic. It's not really that same type of experience. And so that is one thing that I've noticed, the difference that I really like about the Ohio State Clinic. Like, for instance, Coach Hartline is always going to draw a huge crowd when he was at Ohio State, right? Well, when Coach Hartline draws this huge crowd, the running back coach may not draw as much. And so I might sneak over and go meet with Coach Locke or whoever the running back coach was at the time. And it's like, okay, now I can get some one-on-one time with this guy and it's going to be cool. Or I could pull away the assistant running back coach and we can have a full-on conversation about some of the things that they do. And so it's a really cool experience. I mean, they truly make themselves an open book during those times. And it is awesome. And shout out to Coach Day for making sure that his staff knows how important it is to pour into the coaches who show up to that thing. And they really make themselves open and accessible to all of us. And so I think that's the biggest difference. It's just more intimate, more hands-on. And that's one of the things that I think coaches really enjoy about it.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, that's just kind of a cool behind the curtain look that a lot of people, especially in the podcast space, don't get to see.
Yeah.
So with that, let's hop into the structure of spring practice. Obviously, it's spring. It's a total of, I think, 16 dates now. I think they added one. And it's spread out, obviously, starting tomorrow, the 10th of March, and goes all the way through the spring game. Kind of a weird layout this year because of spring break.
Yeah.
Two practices this week, and then spring break. So a week off to go be college kids. And I know, like, you had some guys. Luke was on the Buckeye cruise, last week. So it's really crazy to see the lives these kids lead now. Because, hey, Mylan Graham, yes, they still go to class, but online class allows this type of, the Buckeye cruise is a give back. Yes, you get to go be on a cruise, but it's a give back.
Yeah.
So as these guys get into spring practice, what does the structure of these practice sessions look like that you've been fortunate enough to see?
Yeah, the first couple days, like this week, opening with tomorrow, you're going to see basic installation days, right? They know they only get 2 days before they have a week off. And so they really want to get the basic structure of what's going to be going in when they return from spring break. And I think that's one of the biggest emphasis that they're going to try to make sure they're placing on the guys. Get the base stuff in, see what it looks like, see what the guys look like when they're out there moving around after they've done all this hard work in the winter. Let's get this base stuff in before they go on spring break. Now, the fortunate thing is they did just get off the Buckeye cruise. Not a lot of guys are going to go places for spring break like they used to, right? They're not going to go to Panama City and go get crazy like a lot of the guys used to, right? And so I think these first couple days are just really about the basic install. You're going to have spider pads on your shoulders. You're not going to have any really big contact. And just get out there, communicate, fly around, execute at a high level, and see what we are looking like when we're moving around. Maybe do some shuffling around with groups, see who's going to be the vocal leaders, that type of stuff. But it's going to be the base stuff. See who can pick up the new verbiage maybe under Arthur Smith, right? Some of those new guys, the new coaches, what's changed, what's not. As you come back from spring break, obviously you're going to see things start to ramp up. As you get into April, that is when you start to see these position battles really start to pick up and the physicality of things start to really enhance, especially for those real in-depth position battles. I remember last year you saw those deep position battles on the offensive line start to get really physical. Now you look at guys like Jeremiah Smith and some of the bigger name guys, they may not be, fully full on, like full contact. They're going to take care of those guys. But some of those guys that are going to be in the trenches on the defensive line that they're really trying to see, what they're going to do, you're going to see that really start to ramp up when they come back from spring break, especially when they get into those April practices as they gear up for the spring game. And so with NIL and with the way things are now, these guys are making money. They gotta take care of their guys that they know they're going to be counting on in the fall. And so things look a little bit different than it used to. Back when I was playing spring ball, the second you put the pads on, it was we're out here competing nonstop all day, every day. They're still competing, but it's not as physical as it was. And so that is one of the big differences. But nonetheless, they're starting out with basic install. When they come back from spring break, they're always going to ramp it up a little bit as they go. I'm interested to see how Coach Day does the spring game this year. What is that going to look like? Is it going to be full contact? Is it going to be, the buzz technique? Are they going to be wrapping through I don't know how he's going to approach this. At Ohio State, I don't know if I'd be a big fan of having a spring game, right? I don't know how I would feel about it. So it will be interesting to see how he takes this on. But the spring is all about getting this information in, getting as much information in, see what the kids can retain, see what they can handle. And it is all about that installation process and who's going to separate themselves. These young freshmen, you got to get them as many reps as possible now, because who's going to be able to provide you depth right away? Like these young freshmen got to play. They're on campus. Get them as many reps as you can. So that's what it's all about, man. And it looks different now because kids are getting paid. You don't want them to be as physical. I would think of it very similar to what like OTAs are, and kind of when it comes to the NFL, like the rookie mini camps, things like that. That's what I would compare this to. Not a lot of contact, but just really trying to get as many reps as you can, mental reps, communication, flying around, and see who can come out there and compete and really go out there and win a job in those position battles as well.
I feel like you do want to see some of these freshmen go full go, though. You know, obviously not these two practices this week, but at the same time, like you said, do I want Chris Henry going across the middle and getting lit up by Jalen McClain? Probably not. It's a very delicate balance for sure.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to eventually see it go to like an OTA model. And, you know, it's been floated around in different discussions, and we may have even talked about it somewhere in the past, where I think you could enhance spring football is if you do away with the spring game and let Ohio State scrimmage an Akron, a Youngstown State, you know, do that interscholastic scrimmage just like during OTAs and training camp in the NFL. They have those inter-squad practices. Just something to see if, you know, the NCAA ever flexes on, I guess.
I think that would be a great idea. I think it would be a perfect opportunity for the young guys to get reps at both levels. At the MAC level or whatever school you're playing, their young guys to get reps, our young guys to get reps at Ohio State. I think that would be a perfect opportunity to do that. Whether they do it, I don't know. But I think the spring games and things like that they're definitely going away. You got to take care of your guys. You know, like at the quarterback position, Julian Sand is not going to get a crap ton of reps in the spring game, as he shouldn't, right?
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. But Tavian St. Clair, he will get more reps. He needs more of those developmental reps. And so that is just the fine line you have to walk when it comes to taking care of your guys, that you know what to expect from them already.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, we're going to take a quick pause. And like I said earlier, if you are on Buckeye Film Breakdown, tapped into that community, enjoy the rest of the show. If you are on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, and you want to hear the rest of this episode and all the other content, tap in, BuckeyeFilmBreakdown.com.